Before I started posting videos over here on YouTube, I made comics, a webcomic that I posted over on my website. Like I do on YouTube, every Monday night, I like to post a new comic. That was my schedule. The other cool thing about it is I usually finished it pretty late into the evening, and then I'd go to bed, wake up Tuesday morning, and I'd wonder how my comic did overnight. Did people share it? Did they like it? So one Tuesday morning, it was winter, it was cold, I remember that. I had to drive to work that day. I wake up, I check, and dang, a couple thousand people visited overnight. On a really good night, I might get 500 people viewing it, but this was definitely bigger. I don't remember the numbers anymore, but I do remember searching around and trying to figure out where the traffic was coming from. Was it on Reddit? Was someone with a lot of followers posting it on Twitter? What's going on? Just checking around, it seemed like there were a lot of little things. It's not like one big traffic source, so that's cool. Generally, people like it. I go to work. I'm not getting anything done. I'm distracted. I keep refreshing that stat page. I watch the views go up and up. I like to pretend that I don't care, but I kept refreshing a lot. So as the morning goes on and more people are seeing the comic, it dawns on me that maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't have posted it because, well, it's not bad. I guess when you create something, you figure only a handful of people are going to see it, just like every other week. You never really think of the ramifications of what happens when thousands of strangers pour in and start seeing it. I should also probably tell you about the comic at this point. Here's the title: Why DRM Sucks, or How to Download an Audiobook from the Cleveland Public Library. You don't hear much about DRM anymore. It stands for Digital Rights Management. It's the software that makes it hard to pirate stuff, at least in theory. Anyway, that's not the part of the title that I worried about. It's that second part of the title, the Cleveland Public Library part of the title. I'm from Cleveland. I live in Cleveland. I love Cleveland. And as a Clevelander, I know that this city gets dumped on all the time. It's the brunt of jokes. But what I also know is this is a really great city. And all of a sudden, I find myself being in the position where I'm the guy dumping on Cleveland and its library. Not only that, but Ohio has some of the best libraries in the country, and Cleveland has one of the best libraries in Ohio. That means that the Cleveland Public Library is one of the best libraries in the world. Okay, so I should read the comic. Step 1, find a book that you're interested in. Step 2, add that book to your cart. Step 3, log in and check out your book. Step 4, get a download link. Step 5, boot up Windows. This is an extra step. I'm on a Mac. You'd understand. Step 6, download proprietary software. Step 7, install said software. Step 8, get a cryptic error. Step 9, Google your problem. Step 10, learn that you need an updated security certificate. Step 11, open Windows Media Player, because you needed Windows Media Player to get a security certificate. Step 12, download your new security certificate. Step 13, learn that you need to update Windows Media Player in order to do that. Step 14, install update. Step 15, reboot Windows. Step 16, start up the Overdrive Media Player. Step 17, get another cryptic error message. Step 18, insert profanity. Step 19, give up on the library. Step 20, open up a BitTorrent site. Step 21, click download. Step 22, enjoy your audiobook. This is the part of the video where I say that I in no way endorse piracy, it was just a joke. And if anybody wonders if it's easier to do this now than it was years ago, I don't know. I'm afraid to look. So as the numbers go up and up, it hits me. What if someone from the Cleveland Public Library actually sees this comic? And what if that person thinks that I am a jerk? I don't want that person thinking I'm a jerk. I just had a frustrating experience and I vented in a comic. I never really stopped to think if anyone would actually read it. So I'm scrambling. I don't take conflict or guilt well. What happened mid-morning is that the comic took off on Twitter. Views kept ticking up. I'm on Skype, I'm talking to my buddy Eric, and I'm thinking, maybe I change it. Maybe I take out the Cleveland part. He's like, no. You take that out and you take out the personal connection. It's no longer a story about something that happened to you. If you take out your personal connection, then it's just a rant about how you don't want to pay for things. And he was right. But that feeling, it keeps rising. Someone at the library might see it. So by this time, it's almost lunch, and the views are slowing down anyway. That's how Twitter is, or at least was back in the day. Big spike of activity, and then it slows down. So I'm out of the woods. We're on the back nine. I'm probably fine. Check back after lunch, early afternoon, only a trickle of views. The peak is past, everything is back to normal. And I haven't heard anything from anyone defending the library. So I think I'm good to go. My most popular comic ever, I can pat myself on the back and move on. But then it got fireballed. Being fireballed is what happens when your content gets posted to Daring Fireball. Usually, John Gruber, the guy who runs the blog, sticks to Apple and tech news. But on this particular day, he must have liked my little library comic. So here we are, early afternoon, and the views are flying in. People are tweeting, it's going crazy, I'm getting mentions left and right, my computer is all alerts all the time, and I'm like, oh no. Someone at the library is gonna see this now. Here's what I learned in the early hours of this experience of being on Daring Fireball that day. That site is what marketers like to call a tastemaker. So yeah, it sends a lot of traffic, but its real effect is that whatever he picks up and posts gets grabbed by everybody and redistributed pretty much everywhere. So within a few hours, my comic is all over the place. Ars Technica, Boing Boing, Lifehacker, like everywhere. Okay, but hey, it's still just tech sites. It's not like a library-specific site founded or anything, and it's, oh crap. This is the Library Journal. It is not a library, it is not a journal, but a website. And one thing this website has made abundantly clear is that the Cleveland Public Library has definitely seen my comic. And they are most definitely unamused. The Library Journal actually contacted the Cleveland Public Library for the story to get a comment, and here is what the library said about my comic. Both Cleveland Public Library and Overdrive, whose platform icon can be seen in one of the comics panels, told Library Journal that ever-increasing circulation shows that most people seem to be downloading from the library without any trouble. I get it. I mean, what are they gonna say? To the people at the library, I'm just a random internet troll. They probably see me as some guy trying to get them fired. But man, I thought a couple hundred people would see it, mostly my friends. It never dawned on me that this would happen. This was not in the realm of things that I thought would happen on a Tuesday. Tens of thousands of people seeing this just wasn't on my mind. So fast forward a year. I gotta go downtown to the library for a conference. Not like they check IDs at the door. I can walk in and out of the Cleveland Public Library, no problem. I don't know what I look like. But for this particular event, I have to wear a name badge and somebody spots me. Really, Cleveland is a small town, especially when you're talking about the tech community in Cleveland. So when something like this happens, everybody in town knows what happened. I am a known quantity. And on this day, I got to meet the library's design team. Now, I do have to say, they were crazy friendly to me. Like, way friendlier than they had any business being. And they told me that they saw the comic and they thought it was funny. Turns out, as individuals, they knew that the experience there was a bad experience. And overall, they had a pretty good sense of humor about it. But collectively, to the outside world, they have to come to defense of their organization. Thankfully, I never had to talk to the public relations person who had to feel press about this comic. That person, yeah, that person probably hates me. I did make that person's job a little harder that day. But I didn't get off totally scot-free. Everybody there got my last name wrong. Like, really, really wrong. Everybody called me Brad Cowboy. Now, granted, my name looks kind of like Cowboy. And as far as nicknames go, Cowboy's a pretty good one. It's better than Brad Cold Cuts or Brad Cholera, or whatever other nickname you guys have just dreamt up and are typing into the comments section as we speak. And afterwards, I thought, you know, here's what I think happened. I used to work in an outlet mall way back in the day, and there was a Van Heusen store next door. We never really talked to anybody there, but when you work in the same spot every day, you know what the people who work directly next to you look like. They all were dressed fancy, so we just gave them all nicknames. The one guy I remember we called the French Chimney. He probably wasn't French. He was skinny, he looked really sophisticated, and he was always outside smoking. That's how you get a nickname, kids. And I bet that's what happened to me at the library. The comic circulates, nobody really knows my last name. Someone starts referring to me as that cowboy guy who made the comic, and it just stuck. And over time, people just forgot that that wasn't my actual name. Now every time I go back, I'm Brad Cowboy. You know what? I'll take that punishment. That's a pretty easy punishment. I still take a lesson from this comic to this day. A lot of times when you're venting about a company or an organization online, it feels like you're yelling at this unfeeling organization, or you're yelling at a building. A large brick wall that will never actually hear you. But a lot of times you're yelling at an employee trying to do their job. Or you're yelling at them in front of their coworkers or their boss. That's a lesson I'm not gonna forget. And that's a lesson this cowboy is gonna take into the sunset. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and share it on social media so other people can find it and say, dude, that guy finds all the cool stuff before everybody else. You can also hit the like button down below or subscribe if you want to see all my videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you next time.